This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, mind blow revelation.
Okay.
Happened this week, and I was like, I've been waiting to talk to you about this. I don't know if I text you about this, but I was texting
Not sure.
because I wanted to wait to get your genuine opinion on this. Okay, check this out. You know when we talk about colonization,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we're like, oh, you want to decolonize things.
Sure.
Okay, so one thing. So okay, let's just we'll pause. We'll put a pin in that, and then we'll just deconstruct what does decolonization mean. So, what does decolonization mean to you when you hear that? What do you think?
Well, what that would mean is just removing the people or removing the structures from the colonizers, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Totally. So with that one, does that make any sense? Because we benefit from colonization, and it's how far back do you want to remove the colonization?
Exactly.
Right. So it make no sense.
I feel
right?
I feel like it's colonization kind of ends up where people mix together more, right? Versus if you're saying for decolonization, then you're just asking for let's just not mix it all together. That's what you're asking for.
Yeah, that's true. It's true because if you were going to colonize, you're going from one area to the next area. Totally, I get that point of view. But let's say the colonization has already happened. We're in Canada; it's been colonized.
It's already happened. Yeah.
So right. So what could it possibly be except breaking down the system you've already created?
Mm-hmm.
Right? In a literal sense,
Yeah,
if you hear
yeah.
decolonization, you're thinking okay, let's just overthrow the government, something like that. Okay, now let's. Okay, so if you throw that argument at them, they'll be like, "That's actually not what we mean. We mean mental decolonization. So we have to also decolonize the words we use, the things we say, et cetera, et cetera." Okay. So that's the realm we're playing with now, and I realized that it's impossible to do that because colonization is baked into every facet of your being. It's a outlook. Okay. So one thing that came up, I'm gonna try and make this as loose as possible, not to make it totally obvious what happened. But basically, the idea of professionalism.
Sure.
You have to be professional.
Yeah.
So it means different things for different people, right? So professionalism to me is okay, I show up on time. I want to be giving my all, something like that, right? But professionalism in the more widely understood sense, it's a way of acting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We both know that we're going to start this call with how was your day? How are you feeling? I don't really care about the preamble. I just care about getting to the next step, right? But you have to put in those two things in order to seem professional.
Sure.
That makes sense, right? Have you ever experienced that? I'll ask you that part first.
Which part?
Have you ever been where they're like, "Hey, how's your day going?" You have a meeting scheduled, right? You got to meet with somebody, but then you always open with "Oh, how was your day? How are you feeling?" But you both know you don't. This is not the point of the meeting. The point of the meeting is to get to the task.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. But we'll play this back and forth game of
Sure. Yeah.
hair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right. It's okay, this is kind of weird. All right, but whatever. I like to jump past the game and just jump straight to or what do we need? What are we going to solve? What are we doing? Right?
Yeah.
Because I like unless the point is that we're going to care about each other in this setting, then I'll actually care about you. But like, what's the objective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then like
yeah.
people will say, well, you have to act nice, you have to understand it. But that's the game. That's the professional game. Okay. So in that, there are certain individuals who don't like to act professional, like myself, right? And like other professional in the sense of like playing the game.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to show up on time, whatever, right? Um, so okay, so now there's this move. So okay, now you have those professionals, and then you have the people that don't want to be professionals,
Mm-hmm.
right? And noticing that the like so basically this group of professionals wants to tap into the non-professionals to pick their brain. Wow, if you if you listen to this and you know what happened, you're like, okay, you're basically okay. I'm trying to make it as loose as possible. So these professionals trying to pick the brain of the non-professionals, and I was like, you guys gotta understand that they don't think the same way as you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way you're talking right now is not how they talk, right? And then this person was like, "Oh, it's so good for you," or like that's easy, not easy for you to say, but like I feel like you're so good at that, Ervil. You really know how to. Ervil's my professional name, right? I'd
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rather go by PJ, but we gotta play the game. So, right? So they're like, you're really good at connecting with people. And I was like, I laughed and I was like, I just hang out with a lot of types of people. But then I was like thinking about like, why would they say that to me? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized it's because of their mindset. Professionalism is colonialism. All right, let me break this down. You when you're professional, you don't care about the other person. You care about getting to the point.
Sure.
I have to build camaraderie. I have to do all this. I have to whatever, right? And then they were asking me like, how do you build a connection with somebody? And I was like, isn't it obvious? You just actually care about the other person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like, oh, you can get that other non-professional team to do whatever you want. Like if I need something, they're like, I'll help you out. But they're like, we can never achieve that. How are you doing that? I'm like, because I actually care about the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas like I feel like the colonialist mindset is I will get to my objective and you're just in my way and I have to um, use you as a tool to getting to where I want to go. Am I freezy? It looks like I'm
Yeah.
really freezy
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
side.
You
I'm
are.
extremely freezy.
Yeah, it's moving in slow
Uh,
mo. But the voice is coming in fine.
the voice is coming fine. Okay, cool. As long as the voice is fine. I'll be choppy all day, whatever. So does that like do you get what I'm saying there? It's like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this professional world, this Western world of being in the industry and trying to be professional is exactly the heart. It is like the manifestation of colonialism because colonialism doesn't care about other people. It cares about the objective.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense? It's like, okay, I want your
Sure.
resources, so I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna like fake that I'm being nice to the indigenous, but I'm actually gonna steal everything
Right,
from
right,
them.
right, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But we all instinctively do that when we're in an office setting. But the people that they want to attract or talk to are people that don't vibe with the office setting,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, how can we, if everyone in the upper echelon of society is acting in a professional manner, how do you decolonize something if everyone at the top is all acting quote unquote professional, aka colonial?
Sure.
Do you
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think that comes down to also like caring for your job, like those sort of things
No, they
matter.
care. No, they care about their job. They because of the money, like they want to do a good job. Like I don't think it's necessarily care because they want to do a good job so they can get promotions, right? But it's more about like the real question is how do you connect with people? And I'm like, you just don't be a colonizer. And I think what that is like you listen to understand, you don't listen to speak.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you're saying it in that way, yeah, I
Right?
think.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense? So
Mm-hmm.
okay, so like a very one good example that I saw, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So if I make a blanket statement without gauging the room, I'm going to alienate other people.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say, oh, everyone who likes country music is a Trump supporter, and then it turns out that one person, all they listen to is country music,
Right.
right? You made that guy feel bad, but you were trying to push your ideology. You weren't trying to listen to understand. You were listening to give your opinion. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like how do I make this more understandable? Like you get what I'm saying, but it's like I need you to help me like work wordsmith
Yeah, I
this
know
here
what
because it's
you're
like
trying to.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
It's like you keep pushing the ideology. It's like chill, bro. Well, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you're not acting in a collectivist way.
Yeah, I think it's
You're acting.
more your like when you're saying that, like for instance, your opinion about country music, but you have to understand
Yeah.
that it's just an opinion. You could be wrong. That's the thing where you have to. I think that's where you have to come at it from, right? Where it's like,
But if you don't think you could be wrong, then that's colonist
then yeah,
mentality,
yeah, 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 yeah. Then yeah,
right?
of
Because what
course.
is it? Right? What does a colonizer do? They go into an area and they try and populate their viewpoint,
Mm-hmm.
their way of life, to another, rather than being like, "How do you live? Oh, that's cool." And this is why they're like, "Oh, you're good at connecting with other people." Me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, because I'm genuinely asking you, "How do you live?" I'm not trying to tell you how to live. I'm just wondering how you live.
Yeah,
And then by doing that, people are like, "Oh, you want to listen? Oh, there's somebody who actually wants to hear like my way of doing things."
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because all right, so I was also talking with this like person who's like they're bi, and they were like, "Oh, people are so judgmental about us." I'm like, "Oh yeah, totally. Yes, I can see that point of view." And they're like, "Oh, but I hate like Bible thumpers. Why do you believe in Jesus?" Like, blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh," and then I actually said like, "You know, the way you believe in this like wholeheartedly is probably the exact way they believe
Mm-hmm.
wholeheartedly in you not being bi." And they were like, "Oh, I see your point." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's colonizer mentality. Like, you think you're right, but you think they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But can't we both be right?" You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I
that.
feel like, yeah, right.
Yeah, but
And I
that.
feel like that's the issue. Why can't we all be right? We can all be right, but it's like no one's wrong,
But
one's
you
right. It's
can't.
like no, but we
It,
can
it
all.
yeah, but that becomes a problem, right? Because like in for religious kind of points of view, it's very one way, right? Even in that way,
Mhm.
even in
Yeah,
the
totally.
person that's more open, but she's also one way, right? She's only open to that spot and not open to the other one, right? So,
Yes,
but
that's
we're
my point.
yeah, but we're as people,
And
we
that's the colonizer mentality.
but that's what
That's what I was like.
everybody
What are you
has,
saying, right?
right? But I'm saying that a lot of
Not
people have
everyone
that.
though.
No, no, no. Of course, there's going to be the few that
Right.
don't, right? I'm saying like it's the general population is like that, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that
Yeah, no, no, 100%.
because it's we've been colonizing each other for a long time, right?
Yes, and it's baked into the school system. Think about like I got the answer correct, you got it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like there's always, although I mean mathematics, you can't
It depends on
argue
where yeah,
mathematics.
it depends
You
on
know,
where you're
like
talking about. Yeah.
yeah, like if it's like STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, I'm gonna trust that there's a right answer. But if it's like an ideology, if it's like
Yeah, so that's where it comes
if
into
it's
play, where
you know
it's opinion based, right? Numbers are not opinion based.
opinion based, yeah, they're objective.
Yeah.
So we keep what's objective over here, and then we keep everything that's not objective over here.
Hmm.
You know, and and I think it's like that is the path to world peace. Like we talked about it before, where it's like true acceptance is indifference. I just whatever you want to do, but you have to also do it in a way. Okay, wait. Before we move to world peace, let's just because this is another fascinating thought. But like, how does world peace work? But let's stick with this one first. So like, can everyone operate in that zone? Can you make everyone not see it that way? Like, is that even possible?
Depends on
You know,
how.
like
Depends on their experiences. Um, So
Yes.
a lot of the times, if you're only in a closed space, you're not, you know what I mean? It's
Mm.
like you're not experiencing with other people, you're not seeing other people, then that's the part where it's going to be hard to show them the other side.
And that's why I said they're like, how do you connect with so many people? I'm like, I just hang out with a lot of different
Yep.
people. I just see a lot of different viewpoints.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, your experiences allow you to like understand that your experience is not the only experience,
Hmm.
but people don't understand that. And they think that, like, okay. Right now, we're both like, you should just spend time with a lot of people. But if somebody was like, no, you shouldn't, the best way to do that is just to like stick with your own clan or something like that,
Well,
right?
you can see that
And we'd be like, oh,
already. Well, what do you think that's what the whole point of cancel culture is, right? That's you're canceling the other
right,
person's view or perspective. It's
right,
like,
right. Totally. But I think in being truly adaptable, you're like, I can see that you'd want to cancel me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like I'm listening to like this one podcast talking about Jesus a lot, and the one thing they were saying is when Jesus was on the cross, right? I'm not a. All right, so the preface, I'm not a religious person. So, but this is a good story.
mm-hmm.
So Jesus was on the cross, and they were like whipping him, throwing stuff at him, like demonizing him, and he was crying for them. Well, not crying. He was like praying for them
Yeah.
because, like, Lord, forgive them because they know not what they
Yeah.
do, right? And that's exactly what we're talking about here. It's
Mm-hmm.
like he understands that, like, oh, this is just your perspective, bro. Okay, you just want to kill me because of this.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Like, that is true. That is truly understanding. And I feel like if we just did that, we'd all get along way better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I feel like that's my role in these situations because I let my work speak for me. So it's like, it's undeniably good. But the way I talk is very weird.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that. Like, actually, Faraz Zahabi was talking about that. He's like, before you go into philosophy, get really good at a skill. Because when you're good at a skill, they can't deny you
Right.
when you bring up philosophy, right? So, like, one thing that they were talking about, they're like, oh man, these drug users, when I was young, like I was like in grade whatever, and I saw this person use drugs, and I was mortified. I was like, how can you use drugs? And they're talking about weed, and they're like, now lo and behold, it's legal, and like they changed their perspective, but they're like, but I was so judgy as a kid, and then they asked me like, oh, where did you grow up? And I was like, you guys hear a pope? And they're like, no, and I'm like, yeah, I saw a lot of people like childhood pregnancy and use of drugs was not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just like blown. They're like, what? Oh, obviously we've been sheltered. And I'm like, yeah, but see, I didn't judge them. It's like, well, I mean, I judge them personally. Like, I wouldn't do that. But like, oh, that's just what people do, you know?
Yeah.
But if you separate yourself from those types of people, you'll never know why they do the things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
You just judge them. You're like, oh, why would anyone do that? It's like, I don't know. Ask them. Like, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And in asking them why you did that, you're like, oh, we have some common ground here. We get along and like we like certain things,
Mm-hmm.
that are similar. I can live my lifestyle a different way from you. Like the bi person. I'm not bi, but I can accept that you're bi.
Right.
Totally cool. Like
Yeah.
that's you, bro. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you hate, or if you hate me because I'm not religious, like I can get that point of view too. We just won't talk,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But a lot of people don't do that. Or it's like a gauge. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, do I want to spend time with you? No, you're kind of weird. I will avoid weirdos.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
But if you don't ask like why, because we might have something in common. You never
Mm-hmm.
know. You know? I like strongly feel that food and music are the two things that everyone has in common. Not that like we'll all like the same food or music,
Sure.
but like you can
Yeah. I know what you
you
mean.
can
Yeah.
all connect with that thing,
Mm-hmm.
Which is fascinating. When back in the day they had like two rival tribes, they'd always have like dinner together because it was a bonding experience. You'd like eat and like share stories and like realize that you're all the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just tripped me out because I was like, we all speak, like, especially in like the DEI space that I work in, we all talk about tolerance and like individuality and understanding. But I think at the core of it, it's like, do you even live your life in that way?
Mm-hmm.
You could champion those things, you know? Like, yeah, you can market it, you can promote it, you can be like, we all need to be accepted. But if you aren't accepting, how can you do your work?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's contradictory. Yeah.
You know? Yeah, totally. And then you're just gonna hate the fact that you have to go to work every day. Just go find something else to do, bro. Like,
yeah.
I was talking to this one person. Oh man, it's so funny. Like, people love things, and I'm just like, why don't you just chase the thing that you love? So this one person evidently is not a fan of their position, right? You're just like, oh, like I always get this like feeling that you don't like something, right? And these are all alleged stories. So, and then they started talking about like things that they like to do, like farming and like being out in nature, and then I watched them in this interaction. Like we were just like going for a walk, and then I was watching the way they would like be fascinated by like plants, and I was like, oh, that's what you need to do, bro. You know, you shouldn't be doing this thing. That thing's really setting your soul on fire, and like you'd be a lot nicer in that situation.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't know. What do you think? Like, why don't you just go do that thing?
That depends,
Money?
right? It's a money thing. It's a fear thing where it's like if you don't see, like, how do you
risk tolerance?
make it?
You brought that up.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing, right? It's like,
Yeah.
but or it's like you have to find a ways to. You may have to do things that you don't like, but you have to do things that also like as a hobby, as a ways to set your mind, or you know what I mean? Like that way, you can also find your balance in that way too.
That's true. They're talking about volunteering. They volunteer a lot in this space of like nature.
Yeah. So maybe those things would help, and then eventually, if you can find a career through that, that's fine too. Yeah.
Totally. I just feel like right now the collective psychology of everyone championing, you know, integration or like acceptance is like paradoxical is the word, but it's more like ironic. You know, it's ironic that you want to do these things, but you do not live your life in a way that allows for these like not just like professionally, but I mean individuals that you see, you know, people that are like open, like people in the 2S LGBTQ plus community, right? They're all like, I really want to be accepted for who I am, but I can't accept anyone else. Who doesn't want me to, you know what I mean? It's like very perplexing to me.
They're closed-minded.
It's like, oh, you want closed-minded in your open-mindedness. Like, yes, that is what it is. Yeah. It's like, I want to be so open-minded, but
you think you're open-minded, but you're not actually open-minded. It's not an open mind thing, right? That's actually
right.
Just
what does an open mind really mean?
Yeah,
right. If you're open-minded to a point, then you're closed-minded. But if you're open-minded to any limit, then you're truly open-minded. Because yeah, you're right. A lot of buzzwords right now. Oh, open-minded. I'm so open-minded. Oh, I can understand other people. Like blah blah blah. Right? But it's like, can you understand a rapist? Can you understand a pedophile? No, then you're really not that open-minded.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can understand why you did that. I would not do that, and I wouldn't condone that. You know, but like you made that choice. I can understand that.
Right.
Lord, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. You know, like Jesus kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, it's a very famous line, yeah.
Yeah, right? I really think that I don't want to delve back into it because I don't want to be a Bible thumper, but a lot of, like, there's one podcast I'm listening to right now. They're not religious, but they've been studying Jesus, you know? And I was like, yeah, there's a lot of lessons here. But if I start busting out Bible verses, people are going to be like, what are you saying? You know?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of lessons in them because they were meant for people, right? It's for society to live, right? So there's always going to be differing points of views, but that's why there's lessons in those books, right?
Yeah,
in all those
totally.
books.
Yeah.
But
I also feel like there's lessons in everything too. Like every story carries with it a lesson.
Yeah.
Every good story, you know.
Yeah, like for me, like understanding people was from understanding movies. That just gives me perspective on another person's life.
100%. Oh, this is great. Actually, it's a good point. Entertainment you don't have to hang out with lots of types of people, you know? I've interacted with like lots of types of people, but I don't spend like a majority of my time hanging out with people. I actually prefer to spend more time alone than with lots of people.
Sure.
Because like people are very drained. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we all have a perspective. It's like, oh, okay, I gotta listen to that. All right, whatever. But you're right. Entertainment's a good way to do it. It's like, have you listened to other types of music? Like for example, like okay, you go first with your movies because movies is also a good example of like watching other cultures.
No,
Like,
it's
what is it about movies that you know?
you go in, like for instance, like I'm just thinking about Dahmer, right? This is much like very crazy. Like you can easily hate this person, but then, like going understanding his life is like, okay, that makes sense, and why, you know, his childhood, these sort of things. It's kind of a lesson. It's like, okay, we shouldn't be treating people like this. Like these are the potential causes that could happen if you know, treat people this way.
Yes. Okay. Totally. 100%. And it's funny because you're looking at it like that. But I've listened to so many people who watch Dahmer and like, oh, what a sicko. Oh God, why would anybody do that? And you're like, no, you're not looking at the lesson, bro. Like, yeah, it's a weird activity. It's a weird like action.
But there was also
realize,
at the same time there was like things like, oh, it's not good to do that, not good to humanize him. Remember? I think there was like that too.
Well, why? Why?
Like, why are we
right,
like? There isn't such thing as monsters. We're just adding those words of monsters. He was a human being who ended up becoming that kind of person. What happened to cause that? What happened to him to make him become that? It's not about like humanizing him and like, oh, we have to forgive him or something. It's not like that. It's just like, this is a lesson that we shouldn't be treating people like this.
Yes, 100%. It's funny that you said this because there's one person I was like interacting like within the professional setting. I was kind of like, oh, I guess you all think this way. Okay, I don't really like this point of view, right? But there's one person who I did not expect to say that, but his wife is Indian, so he's definitely getting like influences from her. I'm sure. Well, that's, you know what? That's a judgmental statement. Maybe you came up with that on your own. Sure. Is what it is. I'm just saying that it's like interesting that your wife's Indian. Yeah. So he was talking about how people can be so obese that they can't leave their bedrooms. They can't even fit through the door, and then ambulances have to come pick them up. And then these people are like, "Oh my God, that's so disgusting. Why would somebody be like that?" Blah blah blah. And he said like, "Well, I'm sure there's some trauma associated with it. We don't." And I was like, "Yes, you understand it. It's not. It has nothing to do with the ramification. Like we don't just wake up one day as this thing.
Yeah.
There's all these like steps that lead us down the path that we went, you know?
Yeah.
It's all right. This is actually kind of mind blowing. So, well, I hope this person's not going to listen to this. I'm sure you're not going to listen to this, but if you do, surprise. Anyways, so there's one person who I know was like, they had been to like 3 countries and they're all of a sudden a traveler. Like, oh, I'm a traveler now, bro. But you're like, I don't even call myself a traveler, bro. And I've been to so many countries.
Right.
Because it's like, you don't need to say it, you know? I was updating my social media yesterday, just like making these graphics. And then I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like show all the places I've been. So I started making these like banners of like different photos I've taken. And I was like, damn, I look like a traveler, bro. But it's like, I didn't wake up a travel. I didn't just call myself. It's like I had been traveling for a long, like these photos have been compiled over a long period of time. You know what I'm saying? And it's like what you're saying about the steps. Like you don't just wake up and call yourself something. No. It's like all of these things led you to this thing.
Yeah. It's not like you know? Yeah, generally it's not like calling yourself that is very, it's a, I don't know the term, but it's like if other people, it's like if other people say that, it's like, well, okay, yeah, it's not me calling myself that; it's somebody else, right?
Totally. Although it can be a source of fuel as well, because I have this idea of like, this article I wrote before, which is like, practice makes people. So how do I become a photographer? Well, just go take photos, and in that instance, you are a photographer. Right. The more you do that, the more you just become that thing. So it's like you kind of do have to tell yourself that, but you're right. You can't give yourself. But you're not
like, yeah. I think it depends. You know, you can tell yourself that, but not like if you're expressing out to the world. That's a different thing.
Right. Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Because it's like, why you gotta tell me that, bro?
Yeah.
Just go do it,
Yeah.
and then I will tell you you're that thing.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah. But that's that colonizer mentality again. It's like, let me push this point of view onto you, and like, I really think it comes down to like we don't look to other people to learn something from. We look to people to reaffirm our self belief in ourselves.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so to go back to it, the person who is like, oh, you really know how to connect with other people.
Right.
It's because I'm not trying to tell those people who I am. I'm trying to figure out who those people are.
Mhm.
But the colonizer mentality is very much so like, I'm the best. I'm this.
Right.
Affirm to me that I am this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you that I am this. And then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, you are that. Oh, you are the best, you know? But it's like, why don't you look outside yourself? And that's how you'll connect with other people.
Mhm.
I'm reminded of when I don't know if you saw that Philippines video I made, but the fishermen there were so fascinated by me. They just wanted their photos taken, and like everybody wanted to talk to me. You know what I mean? That's because I wasn't like, hey guys, I'm from Canada. Look, I'm making this video. Come shoot for me.
Right.
I was just like carrying the camera. I'm like, oh, what do you do? And they're like, oh, let me tell you about this. And I'm like, I pull out my camera and they just continue talking
Mhm.
because they're like, oh, he just wants to know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It wasn't like, it's like, do this for me because I'm on a trip and I want to make people
Yeah.
see this video. Like, you know, just like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like I wasn't doing it for like, I wasn't doing it for the likes I would get later.
Yeah.
Because
Your
that would come
pleasure,
off
not
as
for
that.
your pleasure, is yeah.
I was just like, let me just document this. Is sick. Like, let me just share your story,
Mhm.
you know? And I feel like they could feel that because everybody just wanted to tell me stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, because I want to, you know what I mean? It's like I want to know. I wasn't coming at it like I'm the Western kid who's the best, you know?
Right.
Bow down to me because I'm from the first world country. You know, it's like, no, it wasn't like that at all. And that cracks actually this whole conversation helped me crack the code because I didn't know how to answer that question when the person asked like, how do you connect with people? I'm like, I don't know. I just talk to people. And listening to them talk to people, I'm like,
Right.
don't talk to them like that though. You know, it's like not like that.
Yeah.
But I think if everyone can, like, that is the process of decolonization. You would decolonize your own mind. Like, the definition of colonize is to go in and like spread your word or like your ideology, right? But if you went in looking to learn, then it's more like a symbiotic relationship. It's like, what's the word for that? You know what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're saying, but I feel like this comes down to like what was their upbringing, right? It's like what's like going out to convert people. That's what if that's your grounding game, right? If that's what you learn first, this is how you think the world works, right? Versus like other religions that are like, oh yeah, he's just like one of our other gods, or it's like, yeah, we can just add him to the pantheon.
Yes, like Hinduism, we're very accepting.
Sure, yeah.
Like they brought in Jesus, right? They're like, oh, you believe in Jesus? Cool, man. We got like 1,000,000,000 gods. Put them all there, you know? And then like, but if there's one God, that's the missionaries, right?
Yes.
Who go to like different countries.
Yeah. But like that's the thing. It's like if that's the upbringing, or that's the style, like that would be your root foundation of how you think that how do you think the world works?
But totally 100%. But I feel like that is also the game. That's the professional game we're all trying to play.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a kid, you just want to get a good job. How do you get a good job? Make other people look bad. And then by looking bad, you kill out the competition, you get that position.
Sure.
There's only, you know what I mean? There's like one position, 300 resumes. How do you make yourself stand out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's baked into our psyche. It's baked into our culture of colonizing, beating out other individuals. Mm-hmm. There's no way we can like all get along.
Yeah.
So is it like a losing battle in society now?
It depends. Yeah. If that's the way the society is run, it can be. Yeah. You'd
It's like,
have
what are you
to.
guys even arguing for? You
Yeah.
know, like, you know what I mean? Like the decolonization. I don't get it. I don't get what you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
undo.
Right.
Most people don't even know. But that's why we're having this honest conversation. Like, this is actually, because if you have this back and forth conversation, then like what we're having right now about the idea of like, you know, diversity,
Yeah.
then you can actually hash things out and figure out the solution. The problem is we'd have to have this conversation with everyone because you and I can get it. We're like, oh, this is what we're really trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go to another person like, well, to me it means this. And then to another person, to me it means this.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know, we need like a law. And if you don't have the law in place, then we're just like,
it's hard because yeah, if we're a minority thinker, we're you know.
Oh, you and I? Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure.
We're fighting a battle that's not going to be won.
But you know why? What makes us the minority? Because we're just questioning.
Yeah, sure.
You're told not to question, right? Because like nobody questions. It's like these are the laws, do them. This is your homework, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I going to go to school? Because you have to.
Yeah.
Why am I going to get good grades? Because we're told you to.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just like don't question and they go with the flow.
Yeah.
And in doing that, that's what builds. It's like I'll never question diversity. Like I will never question what's going on in society right now through these movements unless my overlords tell me that I can question it. You know what I'm saying? Like unless these individuals are told that like, hey, you can question what we're doing, then they'll never think to question.
Right.
It's just you and I are like, wait, maybe we should question this.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. I was also having this like other conversation, and they were like, not really a conversation. I was trying to make it not as obvious. It was more like, because if I say conversation, you'll think differently. I was problem solving. Okay. We were problem solving, and I'm people like. Okay, so there's two types of problem solvers. You come with a problem, a solution that you're like, everyone accept this, right?
Okay.
Right? You're like, oh, here's the problem we posed. Here's my solution. Everyone in this room agree with me, right? The way I come at it, and this is why people like problem solving with me, is I will pose my solution. I'm like, hey guys, I could be wrong though. Let me know. Mm-hmm. I will say it like that. And then that gives them the opportunity to be like, yeah, you're wrong here. And then we'll start working like, okay, maybe I am wrong. Okay, why can we fix this? You know what I'm saying? But it goes back. Oh, dude, we figured it out. There it is. I was like, it goes back to the colonization. But it's the reason why you're colonizing is because you're insecure.
Okay.
Think about that.
Okay.
Why do you want everybody to agree with your opinion? Mm-hmm. Because you don't feel secure enough in your own opinion to think that you're wrong. That's why you go around like maybe my God is, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You tell me. Does that make sense? Like maybe I'm wrong in believing in one God, so I'm going to go country to country as a missionary and convert. You know, because I'm right. If I'm like, hey, there's no God, there's no one God. You're like, oh no, we can't question that. I know I'm right. How you know you're right? Because I know I'm right. Mm. You have to be willing to be like, maybe I'm wrong, but that requires a level of security to be like, yeah, I might be wrong. Even if you think I'm wrong, I won't phase my like outlook on who I am as a person.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yes, in a way.
Because you're so married. You're married to your identity. Your idea is your identity at that point. Mm-hmm. So if I told you you're wrong, like, hey man,
yeah, that could be from the person. No, it's not. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, could be from,
you know.
Yeah, that could be from the person who wrote the book because it's in there to spread the message, right?
Oh, okay. There's multiple reasons why you're a missionary. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, bad example. Okay, how about this? I'm like, hey, I'm bi, and then they're like, oh, it's wrong to be bi. I'm like, no, it's not. You know that we should all like. The only reason why you get angry is because you're afraid that you might be wrong.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, in that sense,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, there's
right?
there was something like that too, where it was like in like the I think 70s or 80s or whatever, like when the gay pride stuff was happening, or when like the acknowledgement of gay people, there was a lot of people
Uh-huh.
that were attacking it, but they were attacking it
Uh-huh.
because they were secretly. So,
Exactly. Like, yes, yes. The person, oh my God, yeah, that is what it is. It's insecurity. Why are you a colonizer? Because you're insecure. You're insecure for resources too. What is colonization? I'm running out of resources here. I need to go to a different country and take those resources to fuel myself.
mhm.
But you can do that psychologically as well. Wow, it's all clicking. You can do that psychologically as well, because if you're running out of self confidence, you need to affirm that in other
Yeah,
people. Hey, I'm the boss.
yeah,
Yeah, you are the boss. Hey, my idea is good, right? Yeah, your idea is good. Okay,
hmm,
fuel me,
yeah,
right? Um, but if you're insecure with it, you're going to, you know, lash out. You're going to be so angry. If I was like, hey, I'm bi, and you're like comfortable being bi, you're like, I don't like that you're bi.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm still bi, bro. But like to your point, it's like, why are you so angry? It's because you secretly are bi.
Hmm.
You secretly are gay. A lot of people that often are against it are the person.
Yeah,
That's come out so many times,
yeah,
you know, because they're like self hating.
hmm,
They don't have the confidence to come out and be like, I'm also gay, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Or it's like it's a mix
'Cause-
of that. It's
yeah,
that. It's like they jealous
religion.
that they weren't strong enough to fight their own thing. It's like,
Yeah. How come you get away with that and
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
How come I can't just say that I'm gay? It's like,
hmm,
I don't know, just try it, bro.
yeah,
But I mean, but then there's so many issues with that too, because like I was listening to the person talk about like their coming out, you know? And
hmm,
then they're like, oh, I told my parents that I was like scared, you know? And I was like, I don't know what that's like. So maybe it's like baked into society that like if they didn't have that trauma in the way and their parents are like, hey man, if you're bi, go for it. Just let me know.
yeah,
And then that wouldn't create the trauma in the first place. That's intergenerational trauma, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because the parents are very strict, and then when you try and tell them a new way, but they don't want to listen to you, and then you're like, okay, now I have more trauma because I'm
Hmm,
fighting a battle, blah
yeah,
blah blah. You know,
yeah.
I don't fit in. Then you pass that
It's
trauma
a
to your
continue. Yeah,
kid,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like why, like you're like, why does dad hate gay people?
Hmm.
Like, oh, because he's gay. You know, and you're like, oh, if he just came out, then I wouldn't have the issue of my homophobic father. You know what
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, this goes into anime now. So anime has been dropping these lessons for so long. So one thing that, and I just cut them up now because I'm like, dude, how did you just throw this in there and nobody's listening to it? So you know what I mean? So like this one guy was like, he just randomly said, how can you love anyone if you can't love yourself? Because you're
Hmm.
just lying to yourself, and then in lying to yourself, you're gonna create terrible relationships. He just said that randomly, and I was like, did nobody hear that? Like, wait a minute, did you just drop that nugget?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the thing.
Yeah, I've seen a
How
lot of
can
times
you
when there's just like a random character. He's known to be like a
drop something you're
goofy
like,
guy,
what?
but it's like he's just gonna say something that makes the most total sense, right?
That's funny that you said he's a goofy guy. I just saw this in the anime. I cut this up as well. They said the opinion. Oh, people are more accepting of the fool
Mm.
than the skilled person. But
Right.
it's true because if I came in skilled, I'm like, hey, da, 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 right, and then you're doing it this wrong. You're doing
Yeah,
this
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
It's like, oh, he's so skilled. I'm like nervous. But if you're like a fool and you're saying like, hey, you ever think about it like this?
Hmm.
That's actually what I try to play when I do these things. Like I play the fool, like very funny,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I'm trying to drop a lesson.
Hmm.
Um, I'm gonna ask you a business question right now. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, no, I was saying like I
No, no,
think
go,
that's the
go.
best way to like not having like so much attachment to it, like as you say it,
Yeah,
and it's more like playful in a way to understand.
playful. Yeah, comedians do that too, though. They're like the reason why comedians can talk about real issues is because they make you laugh while you're doing it.
Hmm.
So it's like,
You're
oh,
put
he could be wrong. Ha ha
yeah,
ha.
you're put in a comfortable position when you're taking that
Yeah,
information in. Yeah.
and that's like what they're saying is like in indigenous um, culture, there's like the fool that's actually the genius that's trying to shape culture.
Mm.
But like they come as like the fox, like the
Right.
skillful fool. But yeah, we need those things. Okay, let me ask you a business question, and it's actually tied to. I'll tell you the story after this business question. How do you make somebody give to your campaign?
How do you make somebody give to your campaign?
Yeah, this is just like a straight up question.
Mm,
How would you do it? Like, or what would you say? A random person has no idea about your campaign. How do you get them to give you money?
I don't know. It doesn't work on me. It's
That's what I said too. I'm like, I'm your target, guys. I don't donate. So if you can convince me, then we'll know it works.
yeah, it's
But
very hard
how would you do it?
to. I don't know.
It's okay, cool. All right, ready? Ready for my answer?
Sure.
Actually, wait, no. I'll tell you the story first, and then I'll give you my answer because it's related to the fool.
Mhm.
All right, so they were talking about like, how do you get people to donate? I was like, it's impossible. Like, they're not gonna donate if they don't know anything about you. Blah blah blah. You can't just randomly make somebody donate. So they're like, they didn't. Nobody listens to me. They're like, oh yeah, maybe. So then we went to look at donation posts, right? And mind you, I opened with, I don't donate, guys. I
Mhm.
don't give away my money. I need to go buy some things. Like, it's really hard for me. And all these people are like, I love donating. I'm a donator.
Okay.
Because because
Sure,
like
yeah,
they
yeah.
want that social affirmation. And what's funny? I was like,
Mm.
we were discussing the psychology of somebody who donates, and I was like, yeah, they're just selfish. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, they just want to make themselves feel good. I don't need to make myself feel good, so I just won't donate. Just gonna keep my money. They're like, oh, that's but we work for things that require donations. I donate. I love it. Whatever. Anyways, so we go to see these donation things. We saw one, saw another, went back to the area that we were like all connecting at.
Mhm.
And then I said, you know what the irony is, guys? And they're like, what? I was like, we saw 3 donations and none of you guys donated. It was funny, but it hurt. I was like,
Yeah.
it was a joke, but that's the fool. I played the joke,
Yeah. Right.
but notice none of you guys did it.
Mhm.
So my solution was, don't get them to donate. Get them to buy something cool. I was like, if you sell,
Okay. Yeah, that makes more
I'm
sense.
giving, right. I'm giving away my thing. I'm actually about to make this whole thing. Could be for my work. Could be for a client.
Yeah,
Just gonna make sure
yeah.
this is all
It's
is
kind of
all
like
ambiguous.
was it
Ambiguous. Oh wait, no,
the?
let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
All right. I had to preface that because like people are like, because I am online. I'm very much online. You can Google me, and it's like, oh, I know where he works. But it's like, no, this could be for a client. This is for a client. It's a client of mine. Yeah. So, anyways, so I was like, yeah, don't ask me to donate, bro. Just sell me something cool. Sell me a
Mhm.
bracelet that says. So if you sell if you make a bracelet for 99 cents, but you sell it for $10, I will buy that $10. And they're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, smile cookies. I love cookies. Chocolate chip cookie or smile cookie, exact same cookie. But I'll buy the smile cookie because
But that kind of goes back to like the Scouts town because they were actually giving. Like
yeah,
you're
bro.
buying like those almond boxes,
Hey,
chocolate
that's what I
almonds,
said.
and you're like donating.
We had no
We
idea what it was, but we bought chocolate almonds. We're like, I like chocolate almonds.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, give me
true.
one.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what I said? Check this out, bro. This is so wild. We all do mental accounting, right? We're
Mhm.
like, should I buy this? Can I buy something else? What do I do with this money? That's what mental accounting is. You go back and forth, right? My job as a marketer is to tip the scale. You're gonna do this anyways in your head,
Right.
but I need to tip you in this direction.
Right.
Right? So I like cookies, right? Okay, cookies are good. They taste good. I could buy it from here. I could buy it from here. Oh, but this is going to help support a camp. Oh, might as well just buy that cookie then.
Mhm.
It gives more weight to the
Right.
decision that you're about to make,
Yeah.
right? And that's what my job is. But you know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
you can never make somebody give you money for nothing.
Yeah. No.
Why would I give you money for
Mm.
nothing?
Even a
It makes
signature.
no sense.
Even a signature, I wouldn't do that.
Right? You're like, yeah, I know, right? Like, sign this petition. I don't know you, bro. Like, hey, come listen to me for 2 seconds. I can tell you about Jesus. No, bro. Like, I got things to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's not gonna work You might get some people, like if you go door to door.
I'm sure
like,
you'll get some people if you pull on their like heartstrings, but I feel like that's
heartstrings,
just
sure.
But that's not like I feel like that's not a right way to do things.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
That's kind of disingenuous.
It's not.
Yeah.
And then you're only gonna get like idiots who like,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. You know what's ironic too? I asked this question as well. So all these, you just gotta question things, man. Just like ask why you guys doing this thing. All right. Anyways, so I said like, would you rather, if you see a homeless person in a food shelter donation box, are you more willing to give to the homeless person or the food shelter? Food shelter. Isn't it ironic if you just gave it straight to the homeless person? You delete all of the overhead costs, you cut out the middleman, you give it straight to the person you were trying to help in the first place. But they wouldn't do it. I'm like, but it's logical.
It may be
right?
logical, but I think there's like a discrimination in there where it's like I don't know what he's going to do with that money.
That's what they all said.
Yeah.
That's what they all said. Yeah. I'm like, but you also don't know what the charity's going to do with the money.
Yeah, but
you know why? Because there's been a lot of scandals associated with fraud.
Right.
So like, but why did you give it? Marketing. It's the branding. I'm like, that's again, that's our job. That's my job.
Right.
How do I make you believe in a story? But logically, you just give it to the homeless person, bro. You don't need to give it to us. But we need to pay our water bill, so give it to us, and we'll give a piece to the homeless man.
Right.
Stupid. Isn't it stupid?
I guess.
Like, doesn't that like logically make no sense?
It makes, yes, but like again, like whose story? If they've made you believe that this homeless man will use his cash to buy drugs, versus
yes,
right. So where did you get that story from? Right now, at this point we won't know where we got that story from. But
and you know what's wild too? If you know that it's all about shaping stories, then aren't we all just in a giant illusion? Like, aren't we? Because we're all just telling ourselves stories and reaffirming those stories. But my story can be different from your story, right? It's one giant illusion, right? And one thing that Tara said that I thought was fascinating, because I was like, oh, that's what I've been trying to say this whole time. Because she's been working with like a lot of people with mental health issues. Like she not what she's doing now, but like in school she had to do like a very intensive one, right? Like people with like full blown delusion, right? And she said one patient said to her, what if the whole world is wrong and I'm right? And Tara's like, well, she's like, the thing she went through her head was, damn, you could be right. But she couldn't say that as the healthcare provider. But it's like, yeah, we are all under our own illusion. You know, we can't see that. Okay, here is my world peace question. Check this out. So in Naruto, the whole point of Naruto is to achieve world peace. Okay. Turns out that's actually what the whole story is. I'm about to finish it, and that's what the whole story was. How do you achieve world peace? So one person, the good guy, is trying to achieve world peace by making everyone love each other. We understand, we love each other, we're all going to have world peace. The bad guy also wants world peace, but he wants to put everyone under an illusion where they get everything they want. You have like, your friend's dead, he'll come back. You want money? I'll give you money. You know, anything you want, put you in the matrix. But if I do this, we'll have world peace because everyone will get whatever they want. It's like a mind spell. Right. And realizing we're all under a mind spell, who's the person who's correct? They paint the bad guy to be the bad guy, but I'm like, I actually agree with the bad guy. Understanding how world works, like, you can never make everyone kumbaya love each other like the good guy believes.
Sure. Yeah.
I could be wrong though. Let me know. Like, what do you think?
I think the reality is both are wrong.
Oh, interesting.
And there is no such thing as world peace.
Go on. Well, yeah, because it's the hive mind.
Yeah,
the illusion.
Yeah, of course. But you've taken away.
But we don't want the hive mind.
Yeah, exactly. You've taken away people's freedom.
Ding, 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 ding. And that is what, yes, You're right. And that's what I came to the conclusion of as well. If you want freedom, you have to accept that there'll be no world peace.
Mm-hmm.
That is the duality of life. That is like the yin and yang. You know, they're like, without dark, there'd be no light. Without hate, there'd be no love. Without death, there'd be no life.
Yeah.
Without free will, there will not be world peace.
Yeah.
Because I have to have the ability to hate you.
Mm-hmm.
So, biggest question of all, what the hell is the world striving towards? Our real world. What are we striving towards? Who's the bad person?
Right. Well,
If you understood this fundamental truth that I need freedom in order to achieve world, like, no. World peace deletes freedom.
right.
But do you like freedom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay, then you have to accept that there'll be no world peace.
Yeah.
Right? But if you understood that, then there's no problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
There is no problem. You watch people battling, you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're battling.
Mm-hmm.
Because people battle, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But who's gonna think that far? Who's gonna question that much? That's the straight up irony.
True. Mm-hmm.
You love your freedom, right? Okay, then the world can't have peace. But why? We can all get along. No, I need the freedom to hate you, bro. That's real freedom. You know?
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have that. Okay, well, I'll have a hive mind. No, that's bad. Okay, what do you want, bro? You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like everyone. Oh, maybe you can have your cake and eat it too. That's what Madara was trying to do. Like, you can have whatever you want. You want to be the ruler of the world? You can be the ruler of the world because he puts you in a genjutsu. He puts you in an illusion. He puts you in the matrix. But you don't want to be in the matrix? All right, fine.
But it's not like you're
Then
not really
live in
ruling the
your
world.
hate.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it's on your head, yeah. But
Yeah.
but to go back to it, aren't we all just living in our own delusion? What if the whole world's wrong and I'm right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Right? So if it is all an illusion anyways, like give me the best illusion possible, bro. Like why do I have to hate needles? Needles hurt, bro. In this world, no needles. Perfect. Sign me up.
Right.
Yeah. But we don't want this. Nobody really wants this.
I wonder, if people would take that world, maybe. Because it's that, like, you don't know if you're in a vat or something.
Yep.
That terminology, where it's like, oh, wait,
Yeah. How do you know you're not just a brain in
in a vat or in a thing, and living in this
But if it's in
virtual world. Yeah.
But if it's indistinguishable, who cares?
Yeah.
No, actually, though, right?
Yeah,
Like, think about the Matrix. Like,
yeah.
why would you want to be in, like, Cypher? Remember, he wanted to go back to the Matrix. Like, yo, the real world sucks, bro. It's like, yeah, it does. It does suck. Yeah. Like, to understand. But why? Why even think this far in the first place? Why did we think this far in the first place?
As a species?
Like, what? But that's an actual question. No, you and I. Because this is like a very annoying thing to realize.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you just watch other people and you either get pissed, you're like, why are you doing that? Or you're just like, the world's you just become indifferent.
Yeah.
But either way, it's like, oh, we probably shouldn't have realized this. Like, it's much better to believe in God and just be like, because I see it all the time.
That's why it makes more sense. It's much more rooted, right? I think the God question is more
comfortable.
It's more comfortable. It gives you some structure, and it kind of makes more sense in a way versus like just questioning the whole world.
Oh, okay. I was totally. Okay, so I was watching. I may or may have not been a little. Actually, it's fucking legal, bro. I was ripped out of my mind. And Tara's like, "Hey, have you seen this video?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is a very old video." And she's like, "Is this real?" Wait, I'm leading up to the video, and I was like, "Yeah, that is real." And she's like, "Wow, this totally just blew my mind." Okay, it's the video of the person. You said me this. We've shared this before.
Okay.
Of like where it's like this is you in actual space, and it showed like a person and zoomed all the way out, and you realize that you are nothing in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it went from Earth, like an
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
individual
yeah.
person, and zoomed all the way out into like the what was it? The Milky Way galaxy.
Hmm. But it
And
keeps
then she's
going
like,
though.
"Well, this it
Even the
does," but
Milky
the
Way.
video stopped
Yeah,
there.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, totally. The video stopped there. Actually, it went to multiverse. I was like, okay, ignore that part. We don't know if that part's real.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it kept zooming out, right? And then she was like mind blown, and I'm like, yeah, I try and live with that reality all the time. So and then she's like, except when you're not, trying to like dig at me.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but that's the game though. We have to all like every time it sucks, you're like, wait, hold on. Remember that.
Exactly.
We always have to go back to it. It's like a practice.
Hmm.
Like that's what the Buddha was saying, right? Enlightenment is the practice of enlightenment. It's not, you can't just click and you're like, oh, forever I will never,
Right.
you know? We both understand like we're infinitesimal, like
Hmm.
we're nothing in the universe, but it can always feel like a lot because
Yeah.
you're living in your body.
Hmm.
But then if you zoom out, you're like, wait a minute, man, freaking, my life won't even matter. Who cares? You know? But that's the hardest thing to do, like to realize that you're nothing. Maybe that's where the confidence comes from.
I think, yeah, it's in a way of understanding your the littleness that we are to the world or to the universe.
No, for
Right.
for sure. But like but the confidence
To
of
become
being able
humble in
to,
that. I think that's
yeah.
yeah.
Like when people get married to their ideas, it's because
Mhm.
like, yeah, you don't realize your ideas are nothing. You realize you're nothing, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You actually know you're nothing?
But it
I
depends
actually posted,
how you come at that, right? That could be a shock to a lot of people if you're
it is a
not ready
shock. It
for
is a
that.
shock. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true, very true. I shared that a similar video uh, in like a group, and the person was like, "I can't even watch that video." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's where your mind stops.
Mhm.
Got it." Like you are so tethered to your own reality, you don't want to admit to yourself that literally you're nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like in 200 years, nobody's gonna remember who you are.
Hmm.
But actually, though, right? But it feels so real, and this is the game we play with ourselves, which is like life feels so real, but it's also not real.
Hmm. Yeah.
Maybe that's the beauty of life. Oh, you're gonna say something?
No. Yeah, that's just agreeing. Yeah.
Yeah, because like that's what the yin yang symbol, the Taoism is. It's like you have to keep going back and forth. It's like you have to understand that you're not real, but you are real. It feels very real when you're going through surgery.
Sure.
It feels very real when you're in pain, but you can always zoom out. It's like tools in the toolbox of
Mhm.
mind.
Mhm.
Like what do I need in this moment?
Yeah.
Oh, you need this report from me? It has to feel really real, or else I'm just gonna leave this computer and be like, I'm done. Right? You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
have to play the real game.
Right.
But then like when things get really stressful, it's like, but also it's not real, right?
Right.
Yeah. I actually had to put this post-it note on one of my laptops and say like, chill, it's not real anyways. And then Tara read that, she's like, what did you write on your laptop? And I was like, oh, sorry, this is for me. It's for me. Because sometimes I can get so wrapped up in work and you're just like, chill, it's not even real, bro.
Right.
You're like, oh, right. It's not real. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what time are we at?
It's about an hour in.
Okay, cool. SAG strike. Let's jump into that.
Yeah, real quick.
Any last thoughts about the illusions?
No, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with that. So it's
Right?
yeah, of course.
I want to get a Madara statue now. Like, even though he's the evil guy, but if you understand it, it's like, nah, man, like, he understood that people, he'd been
But
saying
that's what
that
makes
the
a good
whole
villain.
anime,
Though.
like,
I feel like that's what makes a good villain. If you're gonna make a villain
fair.
understandable, that's the right.
It's like Thanos, bro. Thanos was like, he's like, there's just overpopulation, overconsumption.
Mhm.
Oh, do you see that video? Wait, hold on. We'll finish this thought, then I'll ask you about that video. The overconsumption, overpopulation, and then Thanos is like, yeah, let me just snap my fingers, delete half of you, and then we'll be good. I was like, yeah, but you have to also accept that maybe somebody you love will be snapped out of existence.
Mhm.
So is it the greater good you want, or is it your selfish desire? Maybe the good people in all of these movies are the selfish ones. Like the good, quote
Well, yeah,
unquote,
in a
like
way,
the
yeah.
heroes. are
Of
actually
course they
selfish,
were.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course they were. Like Robert Downey's
Right.
character, he wanted Peter Parker back,
That's true.
right?
Ooh, maybe it's media, bro. Like Western media is all about the individual, the selfish desire. But if you go to Asia, I'm sure they're all like, yeah, Thanos makes a lot of good sense. You know what? It's all about the collective.
Mhm.
I'll accept this loss. Okay, before we go to the SAG Awards, did you see that video where I don't know if it's real, so I'm going to ask you, where who's that
I think
second in command? You know
Kamala
what I'm saying?
Harris.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's like, we
VP.
just got to reduce our children. We got to reduce, and then there'll be more for our children. You're like, wait, did you say reduce the population of our children? Did you see that video? No.
Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah.
Is
But it's
that
just
real, or
a,
maybe it's just a slip up?
no, I don't think it's a slip up. That's just a clip of
Or she said
what
we
is
have to
her population.
reduce our children,
She didn't say the word children.
or reduce our what was it
Population.
like
It's population, I think.
Oh no, I thought it was like reduce our. I'm pretty sure it was children.
No, I don't think she used the word children, if I remember it correctly. I heard population.
Population. Okay, I want to pull
Yeah.
it up right now, but I'm like that would take a long time to pull up. But anyways, yeah, that was like.
But even then, it's like a clip.
Was that
right?
a Freudian slip?
I don't think so. I think you have to look at it like what's the full context of what she's talking about.
True, fair. You're right. You're right. I mean, you can cut out like
Yeah.
how earlier I was like, I'm bi. It's like, no, I'm not actually bi. I just said that as an example, guys. Blah blah blah.
Exactly.
Like, oh, but you clipped it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you're right. You're right. Full context. Full context. She's like, don't say this, and then she reads it, and then we just cut out the part, like, and make it seem like she said. Yeah. All right. SAG Awards, go.
Yeah, there's a strike. Basically, both the
Or
writers.
strike, not awards.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Strike, SAG. Okay.
SAG is just like Screen Actors Guild. They're like a union, right?
Okay.
And then like both now the writers as well as the actors are on strike, and everything is
Okay. Actors too, eh?
Yeah, which hasn't happened
Huh.
since like the 80s or something like that. Both of them at the same time, and which is now like everything's halted in production.
Really? So
Yeah.
even like
Nothing's happening right now.
what's it called? Because I saw like
Even
this post about
Deadpool
Oppenheimer.
stopped filming.
Wow. Okay. I saw this like Oppenheimer thing about like the actors all walked off the thing.
Well, the Oppenheimer thing is the film's already done. They can't do promotions.
Okay. So I didn't realize this whole SAG thing was going on. When I read that, I was like, oh, is this movie really bad? Like I thought it was a super controversial movie. You know, like why'd you just walk off? Like what?
No, I
It's like,
see,
okay,
but that's
this
the
makes
thing.
sense.
This is
Like,
the
they had
headline.
to.
They're not walking off. They're not allowed to do any promotions. They're part of the union.
Yeah. But the way it was written made me think like, wait a minute.
Well, yeah, that's the
What's
point.
going
The
on in
point
this
of the way
movie?
it's written is meant to click in and read the actual article, not just the headline.
Yeah,
Which is
totally,
not going to
totally.
happen anyways. But like, yeah, that's the problem. It's like I think it's like 90. What I saw was like it's like 95% of the actors are not like part of that like huge pay deal, right? Like the other actors are.
90? Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah. So like a lot of these are like
So who's
background.
getting-
So like a lot of these are background actors or like
Oh,
like
okay.
all that stuff,
I
right?
thought you were talking about like main actors. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So some like 5% of them make a lot of money. Like 95% of them are not. They
Oh,
would have
really?
to- yeah,
Like, background actors make a lot of money? Oh, I
No,
didn't know that.
They
That's
don't make
cool.
a lot of money. Is what I'm saying. I mean, 95%
Oh.
of what makes up the actors union are the background,
Oh, right.
and
Right. And the A-list actors are 5%.
yeah, something like that.
Interesting.
And it's like I think there was like something I guess in one of the deals or they were trying to make where it's like they would film someone in the background and they would basically AI or digitize it where it's like they just had to pay them.
No.
They would just have to pay them for that one day, and then they can use their likeness forever.
Interesting.
So now this is the reason for all the strike. It's really about workers'
bro.
rights versus AI now. Yeah, that's what's happening. And digitization and everything, and like all these new things are happening, right? With like,
Yeah,
there hasn't
yeah.
been since Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV, Prime. Like there isn't any residuals for these actors when these
Yeah.
shows go on there, right? So yeah, that's a thing.
Wow, AI is gonna ruin a lot of things, man. We would like
So that's why these
What are we
strikes
doing
are
with
there,
AI?
where they we'll see if they can
It's like
get.
you guys figure it out before we move forward, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna spoil. Are you gonna see Mission Impossible?
I'll probably see it on Tuesday.
Okay, are you a big fan of it? Well, I guess I won't. This won't really spoil it. This is just the general plot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I won't go into my opinion of it. I'll wait till you
Sure.
watch it and then we can talk about it. But basically, the whole point is they're fighting against AI. That's what the movie's about.
Okay.
So that's I'm like, oh, that's interesting that you brought up AI. And like, what was the other thing that's the other movie about AI?
Yeah, I forgot the
It
name
looked
of it,
really,
but
really good.
Denzel's kid's in it. The Washington guy.
Yeah, and it looks amazing. But so like, it's so funny because we talked about this so many times how the cultural consciousness of the time of like what we're most afraid of
Mm-hmm.
is shown through media.
Yeah.
So like when we were younger, I loved spy movies because it was all about the Iraq War, right?
Yeah.
The 9/11 thing. It was all about like putting these spies into the field, right? And then now all these movies are coming out with AI and it's like, oh, this is what we're really afraid of right now. And it's like, how are we going to combat this? So basically he's fighting against like Chat GPT on steroids.
Okay.
So everything digital he can't like affect. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, how do we live in this world? And it's like, it's true. Like, what are you? And it showed like digital dependence. This is very early on in the movie, so I'm not really spoiling it for you. But he uses augmented reality glasses.
Mm-hmm.
He like literally says, here, take these AR glasses and we'll track the guy.
Okay.
But then the AI hacks into the AI,
Oh,
the
I see.
augmented reality glasses.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like starts messing with them. And it's like, yeah, this could be a problem, you know?
Yeah.
What, like, how are we going to go forward with AI? I don't know.
That's the thing.
Like,
I don't know. Maybe AI is the one that brings the world peace in the sense of the illusion that we need.
True. Yeah. I mean, we are going more and more into the digital space. Like, if we go into virtual reality, who's to say that's not our Genjutsu or like Madara wins, bro? You know?
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Because you could just be anything you want in that digital reality. Yeah. Are you? I mean, do you think that they're going to make any laws? Like, are they making any headway towards controlling AI in some capacity or no?
There probably is something going on, but I don't know how fast it'll happen.
It's funny because like Elon Musk had warned us about AI for so long, and we all thought it was like, oh, they're just going to take over. You know, like AI like is going to become Skynet. And I think really what he was talking about, now that I'm looking at it, is like we just don't know how to use AI. It's not Skynet, it's us.
Yeah.
Like it's not the AI. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna use you for one day, use your likeness, and then pay you nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or like people losing jobs because AI can just make it better. You know? Why do I need a copywriter? AI, can you make me this?
Yeah. Right.
You know? Maybe that's really the issue.
I think
it's not like it's not gonna wake up and be like, I'm gonna delete the human race. It's more like
I don't think it's gonna be like
we don't know how to function with it.
Yeah. I think it's more like taking your jobs away. That's mainly the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. Yeah. In the name of like productivity and convenience.
Sure.
Because you get a bigger bonus if you don't have to hire the person. So what are you gonna do with that money? Oh, just give it to me.
Yeah.
Then the rich will get richer, the poor will get poorer. Yeah. It's like a greater divide. What time are we at? Last thing.
1 hour and 14.
Okay, not bad. So I thought this was really cool. I didn't finish it yet, but Mark Zuckerberg was talking about. Oh, dude, this guy's a social genius. Mark Zuckerberg, he's training with, like they're doing the Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg thing. I don't really think they're gonna fight, but Mark Zuckerberg is training with like all these UFC fighters, and it's making his brand way better. So like, because we know how difficult it is to train, and the fact that you're actually training with them and like learning MMA and actually getting good, he's winning competitions. It's like you kind of are like, oh, it does humble you, so you must not be an evil person. You know what I'm saying? Because like we had this horrible picture of Mark Zuckerberg, but then now him being a martial artist, you're like, how bad are you? You know?
Or
And it's
was
like
it
a
or was it
rebranding.
like yeah, exactly. Or was it like how do we rebrand your image?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Or it's like is it
Yeah, that's what I
really
mean.
you or is just trying to brand an image, right? Change his brand. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah. So like we need you to train MMA, bro. Everyone's doing MMA. If you want to be a man of the people, train MMA. He's like, I'm down. You know? Because like him posing with Stylebender, I was like, okay, you can't be all bad if like you're hanging out with Stylebender. Yeah, but you listen to his podcast with like Lex Friedman, him appearing on these podcasts and listening to him talk for like 3 hours. It's like, oh, you're not a bad guy. Like that's a great way to
mm-hmm.
like rebrand your image because
Yeah,
you get
yeah,
to
yeah,
hear
yeah.
the person's point of view. But okay, so he said this really fascinating thing, and I was like, oh, I never thought of it like that. He's like, the whole world is thinking that one AI is going to take over. We have this like arms race towards AI. Like, who's going to build the best AI system? And he's like, I think what will happen in the future
Mm-hmm.
is we're going to have multiple AI systems. You're going to have like AI for Meta, AI for whatever. It's like you don't have one type of friend, you have multiple types of friends,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? And I never thought of it like that. It's like when we say AI,
Well, yeah, it
it's
kind of
like
makes
there isn't
sense,
one
right? It's not
enemy.
like that's just like
No, it made sense,
like
but I never thought of it like that. I was like, oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually
It's like
totally logical.
we don't have one smartphone. So many.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And he's like, everybody's like talking about one, like stop ChatGPT or like ChatGPT is gonna be the winner. It's like there is no winner. You have Siri and you have, Alexa. Just two
Exactly.
different
Yeah.
AI
Not even that.
systems,
You have
right?
the Google one as well, right? There's three
Isn't that
already.
Alexa? No.
No, Alexa's
What's
Amazon.
Oh, what's the Google one? Master
Just
Chief?
I don't know. It's just Google Home or whatever it's called.
Cortana.
That's
Oh, okay, okay.
Microsoft.
What's the Cortana?
That's
Oh
Microsoft.
yeah, okay, okay.
So it's like there's so
Yeah,
many.
so you
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So you have all these different like agents. So he's like, you're just gonna be able to pick which one you want.
True.
It's not
Yeah.
really gonna be all ChatGPT. I'm like, oh, that actually makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, this is
Yeah,
ChatGPT. It's just like kind of getting in first in the business kind of thing, right? Um,
yeah.
but that's that. There, I already know there's a Google one called I think Brad or Braid or I forgot the name of that one. There's a Google version
Oh, okay.
as well,
Of
like a
didn't
version of a
Bing buy
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT or something?
No, they
What
didn't.
what
I don't think they
we're gonna?
bought ChatGPT. It's kind of like licensing.
Oh, okay, okay. To help make your search engine better.
Yeah, so they can use it in Bing, or they have to be. It's kind of like we're licensing you for so many years, right?
You got it, got it, got it. AI is getting way. It's being integrated in so many different things. Like Photoshop released an update
Mm-hmm.
because they use that heavily, right? And it said like now AI background rendering or something
Yep.
like that.
Yeah, I
And
seen those.
I could select, but like the function that I use, and I'm like, this is genius. Like I love AI for this.
Mm-hmm.
You can like if I take a photo and there's like one person in the picture and you're like, oh, I don't like that person. You can select that person and then like content aware fill, and then it'll use its AI to like make it look like that person's not there.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of me like constantly trying to edit pixels, it's like you literally just select somebody and you're like fill.
I've seen one where it's like the opposite direction, where it's like the cropped image, and then you expand it and fill, and it'll like create
Oh, that's cool.
like maybe like
Like
like a whole different, not a whole different image. It's like continuing that image,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, I know what
Filling
you're
it
saying.
up.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
add a person there, even though the person wasn't there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
To make it more realistic. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
for sure, for sure. That's wild. Like I like it for that.
yeah,
That's
of
cool.
course,
But
yeah.
you can't trust anything you see, man. It's insane. Like people don't know how editing works.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like actually, okay, wait, this is so funny. All right, last thing. Um, we we were watching Kardashians, right? And Travis Barker, Blink 182,
Mm-hmm.
is prevalent on that show because he's married to one of the Kardashians. Okay. So when you watch like a late night TV show appearance, like
Sure.
you're like,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it,
Like when they go on the
I have another, yeah, 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 late night show, and
yeah,
then they
yeah,
play the song.
yeah.
I have another example. It's slightly better than this one that we both can have experienced, but they showed on the Kardashians the behind the scenes of that. Like they didn't mean to show it, but they're like, "Oh, Travis is now doing the thing." I was like, "Oh, it looks so boring." It's like it's because there's no cutaways. There's no like different angles. Show this, show this, show this, right? Our eyes are if you're just seeing a band play, you're like, oh, that's cool. They're just playing.
Yeah.
But like if you watch the video, you're like, oh, it looks so hype because they boost the volume, they EQ it. You know, there's so much editing that goes into it, right? And people don't realize that when they see these things, it's like, no, that was constructed to make you think a certain way.
Exactly.
So the one example, right? So the example that we both have is remember when we both went to the UFC and we're like, oh, this isn't that great. It's like, but if you watch it on TV, it looks so sick.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You see the angles. Everyone looks faster. Remember when we saw the UFC, the warm-ups, and I'm like, oh, they're not that fast. Like, I can keep up with the speed.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to spar them, like, I could spar that person. But like when you're watching the video clip, it's like punch, like cutaway, kick, cutaway. So you're like, your eyes always like, oh, I can't keep up. They're so fast.
Right.
But it's like, they're not really that fast, bro. Like if you just kept a basic shot on them, you're like, oh, their speed's like regular.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Genjutsu world, man, everything's an illusion.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't believe everything everything that you see. You don't know what kind of editing
you see, you hear. Yeah. Wild. Yeah. I think maybe that's the attractiveness of like Joe Rogan podcast. And like what we're trying to emulate with this podcast, where it's just like it's just uncut. Like I just like the intro and ending, but we don't really edit unless I take a bathroom break or like Athena's going off.
Sure,
right? Sure. We say that we're like on pause right now, but like it's one long continuous cut. And I think that is where we've got ahead in the future. If you want like ideas and like, or maybe that's the attractiveness of everything.
It depends. It's very interesting. Yeah, some people, I think both play in the game. There's long form as well as short form. Both exist, right?
Well, that's why I make those clips, right?
Yeah,
you have to track
exactly. Yeah, and it's like, because why else would TikTok be so famous? That's a short form method.
True.
Right. But then that's
or
why
maybe it's
like
us.
but like sometimes you don't even know like what exactly works too. Like for a long time, it's like YouTube was like the best algorithm is a 10-minute video, but now it's like Joe Rogan's are making like hour-long videos. It's like, so wait,
yeah, totally.
We make the algorithm in that sense.
Yes, and I was about to say like maybe it's a generational thing because maybe Gen Z, whatever they are, is like more into short form, but the people that are looking for truth are looking for long form.
Yeah, maybe it changes by age, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because as you're younger, maybe you have a shorter attention span, and as you get older, you prefer to get more information.
Or you evolve into it. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Oh, man, there's so many things I want to unpack. All right. What time are we at?
Hour 22, right?
Okay, super last thing. Related with that, if you know that is the characteristic of an individual, wouldn't you just look at the rules of the game and then create something within the rules of the game? So like if I know that they are short form lovers, why am I going to make a long form video?
Oh yeah.
Right? It's just logical, right?
Yeah, of course.
Any person can understand that.
Yeah, you have to understand your audience. Yeah.
Right. So this has just been perplexing to me. I was looking at the data. I'm trying to say this as loosely as possible. I was looking at the data for this thing. And for this one thing, everybody's all about creating child content for it. Like, we got to attract kids on this platform, blah, 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 blah. Like it's like a marketing piece.
I understand.
Right?
Okay, sure.
So like we gotta like make content for kids, whatever. And then I looked at the data. I'm like, hey, 60% of your audience isn't children. 60%. So why are you focusing on children? It's groupthink. It's that going back to the whole colonizer mentality where it's like, oh, we can't be wrong because I came up with the idea. I want to put kids on this platform. Right. It's like, wait, but there are no kids on this platform. Yeah, but I want to do it because it's my idea. And you're like, okay, you know what I mean? Like why don't we use data to infer our next decision? But I guess that's life, right? People don't get.
Well, it depends on where you're coming at it from, right? I think in a lot of businesses you do need data. Only from data it makes sense where you're spending money on something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But if we looked at our life like maybe that's what it is. If we looked at our life like a business, we have a finite amount of money to spend, we'd be more critical about our life.
Mm-hmm.
But not money, but it's time. We have a finite amount of time to spend. Then we look at our lives just like we would any investment. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, ooh, you could lose. Like, hey, man, if you put your $100 into this stock, you're gonna lose 60% of your
Mm-hmm.
stock. Or if you put it in this stock, you would gain 10%. You know, so you're like, okay,
Yeah.
like I'd figured out better. But we don't look at our lives like that. We don't look at like, hey, you have 20 years left to live. If you did this, you could extend it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
but we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think in terms of you know, like we don't think of it as like a thing that we're buying. We take it for granted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True.
We're like, it'll always be here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not really. You know? Yeah. Okay, anyways, I think that's gone long enough. All right. So till next week. If you watch Mission Impossible, let me know. And then I'll add it to the list because I do want to talk about Mission
Yeah,
Impossible.
I'm
I have some
planning
thoughts.
for Tuesday. So yeah.
All right. I hope you love it. I hope you love it. It's better than Fast 10, but there's just some things like because I want you to watch it because I'm like, is this where we're going? This is where we're going with society.
Right,
I
right,
get
right,
it.
right.
I get it now. Yeah. It's like the cousin of Fast 10, bro. I'll let you have your opinion, but
But you already
yeah.
you're putting your opinion on it already.
No, because I am, but I know you'll see it right away. You're like, it's not as bad, but it's like, oh, we're heading in this direction of like,
Yeah, but
you'll
again, it's
see.
like again, I'll just go at it like this. If it's going in that
Okay,
direction,
okay,
it's
go.
probably just because it's making money.
Yes, yes. It's like let's just get fantastical. It doesn't need to make sense. It's just gotta be the most grand thing in the world. And you're
I feel
like,
like
wow, okay, I'll
that's
buy that.
if it makes $1 billion, then that's
Fair.
that means that's correct way to do things.
And that's another gauge of society. You're like, oh, this is all we just care about entertainment. Okay, we don't care about substance
Mm-hmm.
because it's making no sense. You're like, I don't get this.
Well, maybe
But
it's again, it's like if maybe both can play in the world, right?
that's why I said it wasn't like Fast 10. It was like it was kind of making sense, but like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll
Like,
wait
we'll
to
see. Yeah, I mean, I think both can play in the world. If Oppenheimer is it's supposed to be really good.
Oh my, imagine if Oppenheimer does bad. That'd be wild. You're like, oh, we just don't care about truth anymore. All right, that's cool. You know, imagine like you look at the box office, like, oh, it's got the lowest because it was too real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to see Barbie though. I know I'm like kind of crapping on it, but I'm like, okay, what is this? Like, why did you make this movie? I don't get
That's
it.
what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like it's an odd movie to make, and it's got like A-list actors in it. So it's like,
I know.
what's going on?
So why'd you do this? Unless it's like one of those last ditch effort kind of things. It's like we're all kind of on our way down. Let's try and. But that can't. Margot
I don't
Robbie's
think
good,
so.
good
Yeah,
actor.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. I
Ryan
don't think that's
Gosling.
true. Yeah, exactly.
You have a lot of good actors in this. Why'd you do this?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say it was a musical? You said that, right?
No, I didn't say it was a musical.
Oh, it's not a musical? All right. I don't know where I heard
Not
that.
that I heard
Hopefully
that
it's
it was a
not.
musical. No.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll try and check that one out too. I'm very curious. Anyways, all right. Till next time. Take it easy,
Maybe
Vish.
that's the thing, right? Because it's such an odd thing, people want to watch
That's
it
how it's
now.
gonna make money. Yeah, unless it gets really bad ratings. I was like, I'll watch this unless it gets like a 2, and I was like, okay, well, this is a waste
Sure,
of time.
yeah.
But if
Then
it
I'll
gets
just
like
wait
a
for
6,
Netflix. Yeah.
if it's like a 6.8, 7.8, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, no, 6.8 is bad. I don't know. But if it's like 7.8, 9, we're like, why did you make? All right, I gotta watch this.
Yeah. I was rewatching Titanic just the other day.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's very interesting how there's so many CG scenes, and it's like you could tell it's really bad CG
Oh,
for
really?
today's time, right? It just
Oh,
doesn't. It can't catch up to today's time.
true. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's like
And
Avatar. You watched
like
it like
people
that
actually like
earlier.
walking on like the deck, and you could tell
Oh,
this
really?
is CG. Like because there's like
Wait, wait,
a wide angle shot above
yeah.
the boat, the Titanic, and then like
Uh,
you're zooming
uh,
in, and then it's like these are not real people. These are like CG polygon figures that are walking.
really?
Yeah,
Wait, what is the quality you watched at? Because maybe it was too high quality that you saw. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
probably
maybe it's
yeah,
supposed to be like,
yeah. It's like whatever the quality that they released it at, right?
Yeah.
I guess the max one, and then it's like, oh, you could tell, and like I see this on TikTok too now. It's like, whoa, this is all CG. These scenes are CG. I don't remember that at all.
But like we watched what was that movie? The Thanos one, the first one with Thanos.
Okay.
Uh
Oh, the first? Which
yeah,
one?
so I watched that twice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I'm super choppy. I watched the first of the two.
Okay, the Avengers. Yeah, the last. Okay.
Yeah, Avengers, yeah. And I saw it twice. And the first time seeing it, I was like, we watched it in the highest quality, and I was like, oh, it looks so fake. Your costumes look dumb. And the second time we were like, oh, let's not spend the full money. Let's just go watch it in cheap setting. And because we watched it in cheap setting, everything looked fine
Mm-hmm.
because it was like rendered down and like the quality, the shading.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like to go back to last week's thing of like point of diminishing returns, if it's too high quality, you're like, I can tell that's not a real rock. That's like a plastic rock,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But if the quality's lower, it's like you can't really tell.
Yeah.
So maybe because it was built back in that time.
Well, yeah, I think it's just like, yeah, for using it on like today's TVs, it's just like you can actually tell that this is CG figures, well, polygon figures.
Terrible.
It's just like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
god. And like, it was very like interesting.
It's
like
weird
the
that-
transition between the real shot and that, because it's panning across and you're seeing the person walk across like one of the like co-pilots or something, and then it goes to the shot where that's
Okay.
and it changes the shot to the actual person where he was
actually them.
standing there, right? So it's like it's going
Yeah.
between the polygon version and the
Oh, you're like, oh, okay.
It's
So
interesting.
it's like jarring. You're like, wait, this fake, not fake, fake, not fake. Oh, I see how the editing
Well, yeah,
works
like
here.
the long shot ones, like the top angle ones.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're not real because they're all. I think they're filming like the figure, right? Like the small boats, so they had to add in the people in
Yeah.
polygons.
Yeah, the pictures. Yeah.
Miniatures. Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating. It's fascinating how like at the time it was so good. It's like when you play old school video games and you're like, this is amazing. And you go back, you're like, oh, what was I thinking? I thought this was hyper real.
Yeah. I think there's like a point where it's like, oh, maybe we should stop after some years to watch the old ones.
Yeah, it's always it's too old. You just can't jump back into it. Yeah. All right. Yes. Yeah. Anyways. All right. Till next time, Vish. Any last things? Any other last randomness?
No, I don't know. Yeah, like movies and stuff, everything's on hold, so might affect it.
So we
for
can't
next
watch
year.
it.
Yeah.
But that's funny. Is like foreboding. Simu Lu posted that. He's like, there's so much strife on our site way before the strike. 'Cause I saw this a while back, and he was like, we can't move forward on Shang-Chi 2 right now. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I thought it was an internal battle or something. Turns out it's the strike. So
Right.
yeah, I guess it's been bubbling up for a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, oh wait, I hope that it doesn't affect our movie going season. Remember the last strike, and they just started releasing like anything.
Yeah, it might affect.
Do you remember that?
I don't know if
there
it
was
affect.
other strike.
That's for TV though, right? Or just in general?
I remember before we were watching. It was during a movie thing, and then they were just releasing like random movies that had already been cleared, but they weren't going to put them out, so they just started putting out movies. It was during the time of Black Widow. Remember when Black Widow came out?
Black Widow. Oh, that's because of COVID production was stopped. You're talking about COVID time?
Maybe that is. Maybe it was COVID. I just remember a time when they were releasing like any movie that was already filmed, but they had no slot for it because they're just like.
Yeah, I think that's just because of COVID, right? That's probably because of COVID. But now,
okay.
I don't think there's been an actor. I think from what I remember, it's like from the '80s. Like both of them haven't been on strike at the same time, writers as well as the actors.
No, I mean there was a time when like they couldn't move forward on movies.
Well, that's because of Then the last it was the last few years ago. That probably would have been just because of COVID.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Maybe we'll get a bunch of Asian movies coming out in theaters and stuff because they have to fill the spots. Yeah. All right. Anyways, take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.